Welcome to the Starry-eyed Effect. I'm Steph.
And I'm Jen. On this podcast, we'll be chatting about all things Williams syndrome.
The ups and downs, and what it's like living with Williams syndrome.
We're excited to share our community with you. Thanks for being here.
I'm really excited to be doing this. I'm Steph.
Steph, I'm so excited too. This is like your dream come true, right? This was a vision you had.
Yes, and when I found out it was a go, I was jumping up and down like a little kid. It's amazing. I'm really happy and very excited and just ready for everyone to know what Williams syndrome is about and the awareness about it and everything that has to come.
I have met a lot of people with Williams syndrome, but I hadn't met you yet. Would you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes. At the age of 5, I was diagnosed with Williams syndrome. And from the age of 5 up to now, I've had open heart surgery at 18. I had 2 kidney bypasses because with the Williams syndrome, there's a lot of health problems like kidney issues, heart issues, valve issues. But I mean, I have had the best life I could ever ask for. I have the best parents. I have the best sister. I've been on so many vacations. I've been to Hawaii 7 times. I actually got to meet Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. My sister surprised me with that, and I almost died. I almost fainted. So it was great. I've just had the best life I could ever ask for.
How old are you now?
I am going to be 39 on February 24th.
Woo! That's awesome.
I know.
39 and holding, right? Oh,
yeah.
We're going to have so many fun things to talk about on this podcast, especially because I think we share a lot of like fangirling moments for people. I love The Rock too.
Oh, yeah.
So my daughter, Stella, is 12 now. She's almost 13, and she was also diagnosed at 5 with Williams syndrome. So it's interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but late diagnoses are real common in our community. So I think that you're going to have a lot to share with the community about your journey and what that looks like.
So definitely.
Tell everybody how this podcast is going to be structured.
This podcast is going to be about awareness, and there's going to be other subjects like self-awareness and LGBTQ and
education, right? We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about all
all different types of stuff. Like, I want to make sure awareness about anxiety and stress and depression is important to talk about too. That's a very big thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about people with Williams syndrome, that they have anxiety. It's just like everybody else, and depression. And I'm just so excited to talk about everything. I really am.
So we're going to have one, it sounds like every week we're going to, or every few weeks, I'm not sure what our schedule looks like yet, but we're going to have a guest on to talk about their journey living with Williams syndrome, right? And then we may have somebody else on that talks about how they support the Williams syndrome community, whether that be with education, whether that be with mental health, like you were talking about, or even like on the medical side, which is a whole, as you mentioned, there's a whole array of things that our people need.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And more support in schools, like people
more support.
People with disabilities get really when I was in school, I used to get teased and beat up and everything in school, and like I wasn't supported by many people. So I I mean, I really think schools need to be more vigilant about how they treat people and talk to them.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm all about that. That's my snaps. It's when I get excited about something. All right. Well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to do all the things. Can we do all
Right.
the stuff? Do you think we can do all the things?
Oh yeah.
Good. Good. Well, that'll be exciting. Okay. Our first guest is Brendan Lemieux. He has Williams syndrome and was diagnosed at 12 years old. Now he's 33, and in addition to being an accomplished musician, he is a member of our board of trustees. I had the pleasure of meeting Brendan this summer at our Williams syndrome convention, and I'm so excited that he's here today. Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Jan. Good. How are you?
Well, I introduced you already, and I told everybody I had the pleasure of meeting you at the Williams syndrome convention, and I'm so happy to see you again. Can you share with those that don't know you, like who you are and what you're about?
Okay. Well, my name is Brendan Lemieux. I'm 35. I have Williams syndrome. I wasn't diagnosed until I was almost 13.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was actually misdiagnosed and then properly diagnosed later on. Music is a very, very big passion of mine. I was in 4 bands before the pandemic hit. So that really, the pandemic really took a beating, so to speak, in the music industry, and me being able to get out and play music and things like that. But now slowly but surely, I'm getting back out there and gonna start playing music again. I'm on the board. I've been on the board for the past 2 years, which has been nothing short of amazing. It's taught me a lot about myself, and it's taught me a lot about what goes on behind the scenes, when it comes to making big decisions, like choosing a new executive director or, things along those lines. I was on a board before, but it was nothing like this level, so it's been an incredible 2 years so far.
That is, I mean, I love that you're on the board, and I love that you are representing the voice of people with Williams syndrome, because you and Steph know better than anybody else what you guys need to be successful. What are you doing now? You were saying that you were in bands. Are you still doing music?
It's still, because of the pandemic, it's been pretty hard. I have only had like 4 gigs in like the last 3 years, which it's been rough, because of the pandemic and the way that the music industry took a hit. But I want to get back out there. I'm also in starting to try and look for a part-time job to keep myself busy. I live part-time with my uncle, and that's going well. And I was involved with Best Buddies for 20 years. And now that I'm on the board, that's taken a kind of a back seat. But I'm just trying to stay busy, stay productive. And I spend a lot of time with my family too.
That's cool. Yeah, I think you and Steph might live close to each other. Have you met Steph? Meet Brendan. Brendan, meet Steph.
Hi.
Hi.
I live in New Hampshire.
Yep. So I'm in Connecticut, so she's above, statewide.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
You guys are pretty close. I know Steph has questions for you. Steph, do you want to take it from here?
Yes. So, Brendan, I know you're into music. What types of music do you love and enjoy the most? For me, I love the Beatles. I love Fleetwood Mac. I love a lot of music. I'm just a big music person like you are, but I don't play any instruments.
Yeah. My favorite genre of music has to be progressive rock, just because of how complicated it is, the
Yeah.
rhythmical patterns, like bands like Yes, Rush, Dream Theater, Deep Purple. But I studied Latin jazz and blues jazz for 3 years at a community music school. So I have that background. I love any kind of music except for like real twangy country.
Mm-hmm.
Most rap. I also had my own band for 10 years, and we were a cover band, so we played everything from Kelly Clarkson to the Beatles to Cyndi Lauper to Coldplay to Bon Jovi to Elvis. So we covered a lot of genres.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah,
What instruments do you play right now, or instruments?
Well, drums are my primary instrument. Those I've been playing. Drums I started when I was 3. So that's been 32 years, and then I started playing professionally when I was 12, just around 12 is when I had my real gig. Played at a wedding with my uncle, who I live with part-time, and we still play music together.
So drums are your main thing. Do you play guitar?
Yes, guitar, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, electric guitar. I also build guitars.
Wow.
Well, when I had free time.
I know. I feel like you don't have any free time. I know you were like, I need a job to keep myself busy, but I feel like you're really busy already. So tell us a little bit more. I mean, I know just from my daughter Stella having Williams syndrome that music is such a foundational part of who people with Williams syndrome are. And you play instruments, but Steph doesn't, yet you both share collective passion for music. How do you think that helps you with your disability?
Music to me is everything. It helps me, it saves me from a lot of different things going down the wrong path. It's the only thing that I listen to that will help calm me down, or it just invokes certain feelings, and it's inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything and anything.
That's a good way to say it. You probably feel the same way, right, Steph?
Oh my God, yeah. Definitely.
Maybe you guys could talk about your how music, maybe a little bit more about how music helps with your anxiety or your mental health. I know it helps me immensely.
It helps me a lot.
I have seasonal and situational depression sometimes.
Me too.
So when I get feeling that way, I turn right away to music, and it helps kind of level everything out and helps me look at things differently, and helps me feel better about myself and the situation.
I so agree 100% on that. I get like that too, and music is such an amazing thing for me. It helps a lot. when I'm down, I just listen to music and it just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, it's very, very healing, and music is such a powerful thing, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Do you use it like on the like a positive side too, like to get you pumped up and energetic? Like I have a weird thing where I listen to DMX like before I have like business meetings. I know that's kind of strange. Yeah. Like what music gets you excited, gets you pumped up?
Ooh, Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin. My mom and I will, if we're going to a music event or an event together, we'll blast all different kinds of music together to just get each other pumped up, and it makes everything much better.
Yeah. Steph, what about you?
I like a lot of different music. Like when we go on vacations, I love reggae music. I love like Michael Jackson and Crosby, Stills and Nash Young, Fleetwood Mac, Beatles. I grew up with all that and The Who, so I just love music. Music is such an amazing thing, and I learned something that I never knew I thought I would learn, is that from when you have a headphone in, there's 3 different pieces of bone that vibrate, and the stuff inside of your ear is not actually like a bone. It's like water, and it goes into the water and it vibrates, and then it goes right through to your brain, and it composes music into your brain and out to your ear, which is really amazing.
That's awesome. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, you do. Definitely. Yes. Yep.
Hey, Brendan, so you mentioned before you were diagnosed with something different before Williams syndrome. How has the diagnosis of Williams syndrome helped you in your journey, or is there anything that you want people to know about living with Williams?
Getting diagnosed in the beginning was really rough for me. Just because usually people with Williams syndrome get diagnosed at like 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was misdiagnosed with ADHD and was put on Ritalin and all this other kind of stuff, which turned me into pretty much a monster, you know. And once, you know, mood swings, all this other kind of stuff, and it was bad. And then once I got properly diagnosed with Williams syndrome, you know, it took me a little while to understand it. But then I went to my first music camp with people that had Williams syndrome. And I was like, oh, so this is what it's like. I'm not alone anymore. You know, I found my calling. Then I was like, all right, now I know what I'm meant to do. You know, yeah. Well, yeah, and here I am. You know, full circle. You know, 2 years on the board. You know, if I didn't have Williams syndrome, I wouldn't be where I am at today. You know, it would be very different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know I appreciate the work that you do on the board. I have this dream for Stella that she is going to do great things like you one day. And that's why I'm here, is because you guys motivate me to keep that philosophy always like in the front of my mind. Steph, do you have other questions for Brendan, or?
I know for a lot of people, pets are very healing. Do you have any animals that you like that are very healing for you? Like, especially at the hard times when you're really upset and you feel alone and...
Well, I personally don't have any pets, but my uncle that I live with has a cat named Finn, and he's an absolute character. He acts like a dog. He will chase you around the house, play fetch with you, cuddle with you. Very affectionate. My sister has 2 cats, Nessie and Dragon. And then my aunt and uncle have 2 dogs, Chloe and Bailey.
Oh, wow.
Take care of them and hang out with them, when I can. And I spend the most amount of time with Finn because I live with my uncle part-time. And so Finn is an absolute lap cat. And it's the funniest cat ever. We call him the acrobatic kitty because when you play with him, he'll literally do flips in the air.
That's cute.
It's funny. So
well, we already had our first blooper with Steph's cat. He knocked over the light in the computer. So I know those cats do things.
Yeah, usually if I'm doing something like this, I'll be up in my room and I'll keep the door closed just so he won't come in. And I mean, he could come in, but then could turn into something. So I'm just like,
Yeah, no kidding. Well, believe it or not, I think we are done with our conversation. How quick did that go?
Wow.
Went by like a blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye, right? You guys all did great. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right. So I'm so excited to chat with our second guest. Today, Steph and I are talking Dr. Mary Van Haneghan, also known in our community as Dr. Mary. She's the executive director of the WSA. She's been on board with us since August of 2022, but throughout her 20-year career, she has led a variety of disability-led initiatives. In 2013, she was the chief executive officer for the chapters of the ARC in Alaska and Texas. And prior to those roles, she worked for one of Western New York's largest nonprofit health and human service agencies. She earned a bachelor's degree in business management from the University of Buffalo. And since she has been with the WSA, she and her staff have led many exciting transformations. Please welcome Dr. Mary.
Hi.
When Steph says she's excited to meet you, she was very excited, right, Steph? You were fangirling over
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Sorry, making me blush.
How long have you been a doctor for the Williams syndrome community?
Well, I came on in July of 2022. I actually was still onboarding, but I got to come to the convention in July, which was really exciting. So I got to meet a handful of people, and that was a great opportunity. And so going about 6 months now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mary, why don't you talk to us about, since you've been on board with the WSA, what things you've been working on? Because I feel like you've been busy.
Yes, I have been very busy. One of the things that I have been focusing on is meeting people. So meeting with medical professionals, with researchers, and then my favorite part, which is meeting with individuals with Williams syndrome and their families. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind to try and say hi and get to meet all of those. And there's a huge list. It's a very, very big community. I know that Williams syndrome is rare, but the community is very, very strong, and there's a solid group of people there. So a big part of what I've been doing is getting the chance to meet people. I've been helping the organization in some of its operational aspects so that we can really be virtual. Yeah. So we implemented a handful of things that allow us to, access everybody all across the country in different ways, in enhanced ways. For example, like we're doing a Zoom right now. Zoom is our platform for our communication system. So now when someone calls the WSA, It's actually through Zoom, and I can transfer it to Joel in Minnesota, or anywhere. I can transfer the calls. We can turn them into some videos. There's text capacity, so it's pretty cool. So one of the things that I've been doing is helping the organization build some of that remote capacity infrastructure, and then I've been working with the board to get to know them and develop the goals for the organization that we want to put in place for not only 2023, but beyond. And so those have been the big pieces. Very, very busy though. There's a lot to learn, a lot of people to meet, a lot to do. It's exciting, but it's a lot. So, and there's still a long list of people that I really want to meet who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, or get to work with. So the list is ongoing.
I would be really interested to work with you at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt I was honored and excited. And as I mentioned earlier, a little nervous when Joel told me about this opportunity to come on this newly formed podcast. So thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm just so happy about this. It was a dream of mine for years, and now it's finally happening. So I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Mary, I know you've worked with other people with disabilities and other different types of disabilities. How has your time been working specifically with just Williams syndrome individuals?
It's been eye-opening in a lot of ways, because I've worked with individuals with Williams syndrome in the past, and I've worked with individuals with all different types of intellectual and developmental disabilities over the past 20 years. But I've never had a focus so intense like that as this has been, and it's been really amazing to me. I know that there's a knowledge base that we want to build, but the knowledge that's already there. And for somebody who has worked with, for example, someone with Williams syndrome in the past, there are many things that I didn't even know about Williams syndrome. So it's been a fast track, but there's so many different components, and it's such a wide spectrum. There is not a one size fits all for any of us, and definitely not for people with Williams syndrome. And it's been really, really interesting for me personally and professionally to learn all the different nuances and all the things that can come along with having Williams syndrome. So, and I feel like I'm not even on. I'm going to be an ongoing learner. I don't feel like I'm even on the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to learn, but I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, and it seems like you've been embraced by the community, which I mean, there's no other better community than the Williams Syndrome Association. But I think that they've been really excited to have you on board.
This is everyone's so tight knit, so welcoming. I mean, the amount of the welcome has been beyond warm. I've immediately, even from the day I was at the convention, when my first interactions with people were just really supportive, and it's been a great experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you're still in Texas, right?
I am. I am currently residing in Texas.
Are you in Austin?
I am outside of Austin. I originally relocated from Alaska to Texas, and I was in Austin, but I am now, I guess I'm a little more east, closer to College Station. For people who are familiar with the area, that's where A&M is. So someplace in between the two.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Joel tells me that you're a fan of karaoke. Maybe you and Steph can talk about karaoke songs.
You like karaoke?
Sometimes. I'm not a good singer, but I like the music. I love music so much. Like, it's been a big influence on my life, and I've been lucky to go see some concerts. Yeah,
for sure. One of the things I like about karaoke is that you don't have to know the words, and you don't necessarily have to, really be able to sing. You can pull it off in any regard, especially if you got a good soundtrack. I was mentioning to Sarah that as we're trying to plan for our convention in 2024 in Phoenix, my 2 cents was I'd really love to have some karaoke going on at that event if we can pull it off. That would be.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I thought so.
What's your go-to song?
For me, it's tricky. It just I like a lot of 80s. Yeah. Soft Cell, Tainted Love is one of my favorites, so that's probably up there. Yeah. But I could do a handful of them. I like a lot of different genres. So I can go all through the ages and all the different genres. Some I do a little better than others, so.
Steph, would you go Fleetwood Mac? Because you told me you're a big
Fleetwood Mac. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my God, yeah. I love Fleetwood Mac. I love Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I love the Beach Boys. I love Queen. Oh God,
Nice.
the list goes on and on and on.
I love it. That's pretty diverse. Yeah.
pretty diverse. Well, Mary, looking forward, what's sort of your next focus? I know you've been working on the new clinic in Pennsylvania. I know you're working on the new consortium for WS. Tell us a little bit about what's on your immediate radar.
So for 2023, and I know some information went out about this, but we're trying to focus on what we're calling the 3 C's. So connection, communication, and collaboration. And everything we're doing is within one of those buckets. When we're looking at collaboration, we've got, there is a center of excellence that's being started at CHOP at Penn State. And so I've been on an advisory committee for that to help that get going. We have, when it comes to the consortium has 9 medical institutions across the country that are represented currently, and those represent clinics. So Williams syndrome specialty clinics, which are in all different states. We have 2 new ones that are coming on. One's actually here in Texas and Houston, and the other one's in Chicago. Those will be announced soon. We're preparing for the convention. That's at the forefront. We're getting ready for the Adventure Seekers trip to Disney. So that's in the works. And then there's a handful of other things that are going to come out in the next month or so. But one of the things I'm really excited about, which it's not technically ready to be promoted yet, but I'll share it anyway, is a language line. We're going to have the capacity to talk to our members in pretty much any language. And it's a service that we've been looking at for a while, but we're going to be able to roll that out in the next month or so, which I think will be really helpful, because we've had a number of people call in who, English is not their primary language, and trying to be able to give them the resources that they need is incredibly important for us. So that's one of the other projects that we're working on.
Yeah, that's similar to if somebody was deaf or hard of hearing, right? They could call into a line and get kind of third party support.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah, Steph, what other things can you think of as a person who has Williams syndrome? What other initiatives would you like Mary to focus on? Or has she covered them all? It feels like you've covered a lot of ground.
I think genetics is important. I think that's very important. I see a genetics doctor, and I'm actually doing a survey for her about what foods.
Well, I've met more geneticists in the past 6 months than I have my entire life. I'll tell you that. I've met a lot of really amazing clinical team members that have, dedicated a significant portion, if not all, of their career to Williams syndrome, to understanding Williams syndrome and how to create the best standards for care and supports and services to give people as much independence as possible. And that's one of the goals of the consortium, is to implement best practices across the U.S. so that the standard of care is consistent and that the information is consistent. That's also, I'll do a quick plug for the registry, but we have Dr. Barbara Pober developed a registry, so people with Williams syndrome could go on basically online and create a profile and be part of this registered community. And now that has evolved, and it's housed under the WSA, and we're going to be have been promoting that, because once we create that community, then we'll be able to provide information to those who are on that list about research, studies, about best practices, information that they can tap into for all the medical kind of care today and other opportunities for future studies or potential care protocols.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That's going to be very amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We got to get you signed up.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. That's pretty cool. Now, I do have a question for you. The Phoenix trip, is that going to be, can people get scholarships for that, or do you have to pay like fully on your own?
That's a great question. So one of the things I'm working on right now is also scholarships and how people can apply for them, because there are funds set aside by some really amazing community members and donors that wanted to give people an opportunity to participate in different things. There's scholarships for music, for camp, and there is a large scholarship for convention. What I'm doing right now, the reason I haven't sent anything out to the community is because we're just finalizing how the scholarships will be set up. So how do you apply? And then how are people selected? We're crafting all of that, and then we're going to publish it. So it's still kind of in its infancy in the infrastructure part. But yes, there are funds, and it is in the next few months, there's going to be information coming out about that, about how you can apply. But there is opportunities to get scholarships to go to convention.
Oh, that's awesome, because I won't be able to do the Florida trip, but I want to go to the Arizona trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's on the agenda for the first quarter to get that all buttoned up. So
that was a really good question, because so many people who have Williams syndrome or not, their families, they want to go and they don't know what resources are available to them. So I'm glad that you asked that question, and that we'll be hopefully getting some information out to people who are listening on how they can apply. That is wonderful. I think we might be near the end of our podcast time. Believe it or not, it feels like it's so long, that 15 minutes. It's really short.
Yeah, I know.
How many more questions did you have? You probably had a million more questions for Miss Mary, right, Steph?
No, I'm pretty good. I think I got the question I want to ask.
Well, I'll
our job here.
If you want me to come back at any point, just let me know.
Okay. It was nice meeting you, Dr. Mary.
It was great meeting you too. I can't wait to meet you in person. Bye, Jennifer. Bye, guys.
You've been listening to The Starry-eyed Effect, presented by the Williams Syndrome Association. The show is hosted by Jennifer Keaton and Stephanie Karen, and produced by me, Joel Lispman. Theme song by Tommy Barbarella and Mariella Elm. Got a question for Steph and Jen? Email us at podcast@williams-syndrome.org. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and maybe it will get featured on a future episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to The Starry-eyed Effect wherever you get your podcast delights.